Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the 2-3 Zone, Tony'sPicks.com's look at the WNBA here for a Tuesday. And we've got our work cut out for us here, Ron, on this Tuesday. And we're getting down to the serious business of the Commissioner's Cup. And so running all these games here, every team but Phoenix plays tonight, Ron told me. So we got six big games here, but what'd you think of the action there that we saw on Sunday? We saw Chicago with a road win there. We saw Atlanta blow out Washington, and we saw Phoenix win on the road at Las Vegas as a favorite.
Yeah, just my power ratings for sure, man. I told you Atlanta, I'm going to move them up. I got them up there in the top 4 or 5 now. So look great. Atlanta just destroyed Washington. I think a lot of people were surprised about that one. And man, the Aces, they are in trouble. You know, what is going on there? I know we got Kalia Copper back for Phoenix. However, you look at this Aces team, they just look lost right now, don't they? I mean, I know it's your hometown team there, but they just look lost. I don't know what's going on. I really thought we'd get over that total, that some of the guard play by Jewel Lloyd, and we get some over there, but man, it was far from an over yesterday. So yeah, we'll see what happens with them next time. And like you said, Chicago, the difference was rebounding. They got the rebounders there, and I think that was a shock to everybody too, going into Connecticut. Maybe Connecticut is that bad. So Chicago's got 3 wins now, 2 over to Dallas and 1 over the Sun. So I don't think they're going to beat anybody good, but hey, guess what? They got another one coming up.
Hey, I had a premium on Chicago. I'll take a victory lap.
Good job. Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's get into this now because we've got some important games, and maybe none more important here than this first one here. Indiana's 3-1, but Atlanta's 3-1 in the Commissioner's Cup.
Yep.
Liberty 3-1 as well, and given the way the tiebreakers are shaking down, it feels like the winner of this game is going to be the East representative. Actually, if you look at the way it shook down with the wins and losses here, I think is how it's coming down to on those tiebreakers here right now. But the winner of this game is going to have a 4-1 record. So no matter what Indiana does, there's still a chance. But this feels like it'll be for the East representative, and Atlanta has a chance here. But they are an 8-point dog here, Ron, in this one. Total 164 at the Liberty. Atlanta, you're moving them up in the power rankings. They're 8.
I am.
Here right now, they're 3-1 against the spread as a dog so far. Now the Liberty are 4-1, ATS at home so far here, Ron, but still going to be a big favorite. But this has been a great, maybe one of the better stories right now is the progression of Atlanta here this season.
Yeah, Atlanta's one of those teams that play well in New York. 7-2 the spread in New York. But I'm gonna look at the total in this one. And we got 2 of the best defensive teams in the league. I'm going to look to the under 163.5 in this one. I think is a nip-tuck game. We know New York, I know they're 4-1, but they really never cover those big lines at home. And Atlanta's really improved what I'm seeing there. Like I said, I want to move up my rankings for sure. So give me the under between Atlanta and New York.
New York 1-4 to the under at home so far, Ron. The Dream have kind of trended over there a little bit, but man, what a story. You mentioned it. And look, maybe they did make the moves. Maybe Atlanta did think they were in this position, right? With the way they went adding to their roster and shaping their roster. Maybe they thought they were going to be in position to be a contending team here. So maybe it's not as much a surprise to them, maybe as it is to everybody. I don't know. I still think, maybe we thought they were good, but they're obviously right now, you got to move them up here into the top 4 or 5 teams right now, the way they're going. I'm going to take them, Ron. I'm going to take the 8 points here in this one.
I agree with you.
Liberty's been terrific. We know they can they put the kibosh on a few teams here, but this one's going to be tough, and I'm going to take Atlanta plus the 8. Ron says go under 164. This huge game, the winner will likely be the representative from the East in the Commissioner's Cup championship game. All right. let's move on to the other team that does have a chance. But Indiana here 3-1 up against Connecticut here 1-3. But Ron, I'll remind you that May 30th, Indiana did lose at home to Connecticut as an 11-point favorite. Now we knew Clark wasn't playing, but I still would say no excuses in that one, right? Connecticut comes in just 2-8, Indiana 5-5. Connecticut is 3-7 ATS here, but I don't know if revenge is on the mind of Indiana. I would think just to win this game, they're favored by 16. So break it down for us.
That's a lot of points, but yeah, I think Stephanie was embarrassed the way her old team handled her new team. And now we have Caitlin Clark back. But I'm going to lay it. I'm going to lay this 15.5. And I think this goes maybe the 20s. I mean, good Lord, this Sun team is horrible. And like you said, they're 1-4 away is straight up, they just don't, man, they're not covering anything right now and losing to the Sky. And like I said, I'm not on the Sky. I told you that the other day, but man, the Sky just embarrassed them on their home floor. And don't think Stephanie Wright doesn't remember what they did to them earlier in the season without Caitlin. So I'm going to lay it. And I think it's a 20, 22, 23 point game here.
Okay, yeah, they're going to look to keep the momentum going. I would imagine foot on the gas early, whether or not they get that number. I probably agree with you, Ron. I'll look at the total here in this one. Indiana is 2-5 to the under as a favorite so far. Interestingly, the three games that they were able to win were overs, but. I'm going to go with the under here in this one. I think they really hold down Connecticut because, Connecticut, I think we're putting them on the bottom here at this point. If Chicago won a road game and Dallas, even with their 1-11 record, kind of showing some spark right now, Connecticut looks like they've fallen to the bottom here at this
They're
point.
number 3, 13, and, effective field goal defense and effective offense. They're number 12. They're probably the worst team in the league, and I thought it was the Sky, but now I'm changing my mind. So, yeah, this team's bad, and the nice revenge factor at home. So, yeah.
Ron says lay 16 here with the Fever, and I'll take the under 165, Connecticut and Fever. Okay, let's go to a game here in the Western Conference. We're going in rotation order. There's an East game still. This is in this time slot. There's a couple of games. So Minnesota comes in 10-1. They're 4-1 in the Commissioner's Cup. And Las Vegas comes in 5-5. I was stunned when the Aces were underdogs at home in that game to Phoenix. Yeah, no Asia Wilson on one side, Kalia Copper returned to the other. But you say the Aces are broken. I can't necessarily disagree with you. They're also 0-2 against the spread as a dog are the Aces so far this season. So where does it stand here in this one, Ron, with Minnesota a 9-point favorite and the total 163?
Yeah, we called it after that Storm victory over the Minnesota Lynx. Man, they just laid it hard on the Sparks there. What did the Sparks do the game before that? They took the Vegas Aces right down the wire. I hate to go the recency bias, but everybody's going to oh, man, the Aces are horrible. And Minnesota just they don't like to cover at home too much, but there's got to be a way here, and with the best defense in the league with Minnesota, I'm not going to look at the side, but I would probably lean to Minnesota, but I'm going to look at the under once again in this one. I just don't know what's going on in Vegas. They're not scoring. You look at them on the road, they're only scoring about 77, 78 points a game. You got Minnesota home with, of course, in the 80s, but yeah, I think it stays in the 150, 140 range. Give me the under.
Collier had that monster game against LA. Look, as much as we want to be critical of Las Vegas, they probably will have a little better brand of defense than LA did in that one when LA gave up. I think they gave up a century to the Lynx in that one. And there will be a little bit more defense, I would think, in this game. So I'm going to go with the Lynx, though. Right now, I think there is a problem here in Las Vegas and Minnesota. They're not going to be thinking what's wrong with the Aces. They're going to see those Aces uniforms, right? And it's going to click for them for sure. They're not. They probably know that team's a little bit down, but I don't think it matters at this point. I think they're going to see the aces here and cruise into the Western finalist in the Commissioner's Cup. Phoenix doing a great job, but Minnesota here at 4-1. I'm going to go ahead and take the Lynx here -9. Ron says go under in this one with Las Vegas and Minnesota.
I got it by about 12, so I think you're on the right track there, Ramon, with the Lynx. So we'll see.
All right, got to fit another one in here with Washington and Chicago, Ron. Both teams 1-3 in the Commissioner's Cup. We have seen a little bit of life here. Chicago did win the game on the road at Connecticut yesterday. Hey, somebody had to win. But look, let's give a little bit of credit to them here, especially, I would say to Angel Reese, you got that triple-double. And, for all the criticism you see in her game now, granted, maybe the opposition, but she did look like one of the elite players in the league in that game. They're going to be a 3-point dog here to Washington, though. Ron, Washington -3, 156.5. Washington is 2-1 against the spread as a favorite so far. They come in 4-7 overall. Chicago comes in 3-7. Total here 156.5.
Yeah, horrible effort by the Washington Mystics. I was on them yesterday. I know you were too, but I tell you, they're so good on the road, though. They get them back on the road. They're 8-3 the last 11 on the road. We know Chicago. We know what they do. I'd probably look at the under as well, but I'm definitely not trusting this Chicago team. I know they won yesterday. They beat Dallas a couple of times, but this is the Mystics, and Mystics play very well on the road, as we saw in that last West Coast swing. So give me Washington and lay the points there.
Okay, lay it with Washington here, says Ron. They've been on the skids, but I will note they are 1-4 to the under on the road here. We know Chicago's had some issues scoring. Maybe it is more so on the road, but I'm going to go under here at 156 and go under with Washington and Chicago as my play. Ron says lay 3 points on the road with the Mystics over the Sky here on Tuesday night. Okay, let's talk about those Dallas Wings. This is an intriguing game because I definitely think that there's some improvement here by Dallas with Beckers back in the lineup. They are still 1-11 overall. They're 0-5 in the Commissioner's Cup. They're also, Ron, 0-5 against the spread at home. But they looked a little bit better for sure. I guess if you compare, they looked a lot better, really. But Golden State comes in here, best story going, right? 5-5. They're 3-2 in the Commissioner's Cup. They've done a great job. They're also one of the league's best spread teams at 7-3 so far this season. Dallas, LeBron, not a typo, I guess. They're favored by 3 in this game, 163.
Yeah. Can they get their first win? I think they probably do, but I got to look at the over in this one. The over is 25-10 in Dallas's last 35 home games. You look at the defensive stats for the Valkyries, 89 points given up on the road, and Golden State, 83 points given up on the road, and Dallas always giving it up at home. But we know Dallas can score as well. But can the Valkyries score on the road? Only averaging 78 points a game. However, I think the defense has come to give it away here. So I'm going to go over. I think this one gets in the 170s probably pretty easily.
Yeah, Dallas 3-0 to the over as a favorite so far. Now, granted, Ron, those were the early. We thought Dallas was going to be a little bit better. Those were early on there, and their defense wasn't very good in those games, and that's why they ended up going over because they just couldn't keep up. But Beckers gives you a good pace here with the total 163. Ron says go over in this one. I'm going to go ahead and take those 3 points with the Valkyries here right now. Some of my followers gave me a real hard time saying, hey, Valkyries had all those players dispatched for the Euro competition. But again, I think this Valkyries program, I think they're, building from a great set of front office and everything. And their coaching staff looks really solid. And I think that's why we're seeing them put the pieces together here early. So, look, I just think this one will be close. I'm going to take the 3 points here with the Valkyries. They are the 500 team after all, and Dallas is just looking for that second win. So, all right, Ron says go over 163. I'm going to take the Valkyries plus 3 points.
I'll probably lean with you on that one. I think Dallas gets their first win, maybe at the buzzer there. But yeah, I don't think they cover 3.
Very good. All right, let's take a look at the last one here on our 6-pack of WNBA games here for Tuesday night in the Commissioner's Cup. You got Seattle here on the road. They're still 6-5, Ron, and 3-2
Yeah.
Commissioner's Cup, right? I mean, look, they've had their ups and downs here so far, but nobody's really getting totally away here except for Minnesota, of course. But LA comes in 4-8. They're 2-3 in the Commissioner's Cup. They are 1-5 against the spread at home so far, Ron. And well, Seattle is 3-2 ATS on the road. Seattle favored here on the road at LA by 4, and the total 163.
Man, Seattle just can't score on the road. That's what worries me here. They do it at home, but man, they just can't score on the road. Is this a good spot for the Sparks after they getting blown out in Minnesota? I think it is. I think it's probably a Sparks spot here. But I don't know. Yeah, with Rakea Jackson back and everybody like that, you're giving me the Sparks at home as a dog. I think we can probably get there. So not a heavy one, nothing premium there, but I'm gonna lean probably to the Sparks plus the 2.5.
Yeah, I was a little flustered there. I kind of bought into it that maybe they were back a little bit, but they were playing the Lynx. What was I thinking there? Even though they were getting a bushel full of points, they got blown out in the end. So I'll take the under here in this one with Seattle 2-5 to the under as a dog, as a favorite. LA's been going over when they are an underdog here, but this one should be tighter. So give me the under here in this one between Seattle and LA at 1.
They just can't score on the road. That's their problem right now. They're only shooting 43% and 32% from 3 on the road. I mean, it's just ugly.
Okay, Ron says take the Sparks plus the points, and I'll take the under 163. Ron says take them plus 4. All right, well, that's going to do it for 6 games on a Tuesday night. We'll be busy watching the action here in the WNBA and the Commissioner's Cup. We'll be learning a little bit more here as we get down to the end of the round robin format. You play one team in your one game against each team in your conference, and the 2 best representatives meet for that $500,000 prize. So, all right, Ron, what else is going on here over at Tony'sPicks.com this week?
Well, of course, we have the NHL playoffs. We're at Game 5 now, and NBA. We're seeing Game 5 tonight as we're recording this. We'll be watching that one tonight. So these series could extend the week. So definitely get a long-term package, and my baseball is heating up. So let's do that. Now my WNBA is falling off, but you got the man next to me, the Ramon. He's hot in WNBA, climbing up that leaderboard. So pair us up, and let's win some money.
That's because I'm here with you and our staff here every day on the 2-3 zone. So check me out over at Tony'sPicks.com. Yeah, I think I'll be able to find a couple premiums here on this card on Tuesday night, plus the MLB games as well, and the rest of our playoff action. And hey, Ron and I are always looking at those peripheral sports, soccer, college baseball, and the like. So check us out over at Tony'sPicks.com. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout. That'll save you 15% off all premium pick packages from Ron, from me, from all of our guys over at Tony's Picks. All right, Ron, we'll catch you again here. We got just one game to follow up with tomorrow. So for Ron Crawford, I'm Ramon Scott for the 2-3 Zone. Thank you for joining us.
Good luck. See you tomorrow.